Welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio from Stewards Planning Group. Stewards Planning Group is a company that specializes in helping you build purposeful retirement plans, custom plans that not only help clients steward their treasure, but also their time and talent as well. They believe if you're taken care of financially, you can go even further to make the family, community, and kingdom impact you truly desire to make, which is the ultimate purpose of wealth. If you'd like to set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting with one of their financial advisors, please give them a call at 222-4236. You can request a meeting at stewardsplanning.com, or you can simply stop by their office on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Ben Tachis, and Happy New Year. It's 2026. This is our first official radio show of 2026, and today I'm just going to be doing a monologue. I'll be the host and the guest today, and something that I think a lot of us struggle with is we're getting into New Year. And it's a new clean calendar. It's a fresh start. It's this new year that we should be setting New Year's resolutions. We should be doing all that. In James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he actually wrote something that really stuck out to me. He said, "Your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits." And I love that. I think there's another quote that I liked from that book. He said something to the effect, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, or something to that effect. And really what he's getting after there is that if we can set small habits, they end up making big changes in our life. And I just want our listeners to hear that today, whether that be in their personal lives or certainly in their financial lives. Let's make little changes that can, make great changes over long periods of time. So I'm going to talk a little bit about an article that was written by one of our advisors, Claire Molden. She wrote an article in the Stewards Journal, which is a publication that we send out monthly here at Stewards Planning Group. And one of our advisors, Claire Molden, a certified financial planner, had a great article talking about the ins and outs for financial confidence in 2026. And I'm just going to cover a few of those today because I really liked how she wrote that and how that article came together. So first of all, what things are in? What things should be in for this year? And she said using money as a tool to enjoy your life. Remember, money is not a scoreboard. It is a tool. It is something that, really it should allow us to experience more things, to have better generosity or margin. And if it's not doing those things, it's not actually serving you well. The second one she talked about was spending money to save time. Time is the only resource that you can't replenish. So if your money can buy back your time to allow you to invest in relationships, health, or rest, that's wise stewardship. The next one she talked about was what's in is accumulating rich life experiences. Most people don't regret the money they spent creating memories. They regret the experiences they postponed. When you think about that, and I've had that with many clients over the years, people very rarely regret what they did. They regret the things they did not do. So again, use your money to accumulate rich life experiences. The next one, what's in having a budget. This is not to restrict you, but to give you clarity. So oftentimes I've said on this show, like budgets or spending plans in retirement allow you to spend. I mean, when you're making money and you're trying to save money, the budget has a completely different reason to the reason to have it, and that would be to save more. But during retirement, we want to use that budget to give us permission to spend, knowing what you can spend and what you can enjoy. Another thing that's in 2026 is giving to people who need it. We're going to cover a lot of topics this year on ways that you can give charitably financially, but also with your time. Remember, it's about time, talent, and treasury, and stewarding all three of those. The next one is using financial tools wisely. Come up with long-term growth strategies. Use tax-efficient planning, right? Insurance that protects against real risks. These are things that building a steward's plan with one of our advisors would help you do. And finally, I think something that we've often missed, and I too have to admit to this, is teaching our kids about the value of money, really financial confidence. And part of really good stewardship means really preparing the next steward. All right, Claire goes on to talk about what's out for 2026 in her article. So what needs to go? What are things that you need to get rid of and kind of let go of this next year? Well, the first one is not having a goal. If your money has no purpose, it'll either control you or confuse you. The second one is hoarding money without a reason. Saving is wise. We believe in saving for a purpose. But hoarding is fear disguised as discipline. Let me say that again. Hoarding is fear disguised as discipline. Okay. The next thing that's out in 2026 is amassing assets, but not memories. So no one looks back and says, I wish I had protected this account better or that better. If you've ever talked to somebody that's nearing the end of their life, they don't talk about money. They talk about people and experiences. The next thing that's out in 2026 is not knowing where your money is or how to access it. Complexity is not sophistication. You want to, as part of a good steward's plan, to have a good understanding of what you're stewarding. It's really hard to steward something if you don't know where it is and what it's doing. The next thing that's out in 2026 is not knowing how much you actually need to live on. This creates enormous anxiety, especially nearing retirement. Figure out, what does it take for you to actually live on. The next one is overspending on things that you don't value. And that's not a math problem, it's a clarity problem. You got to figure out what is most important to you and then spend accordingly. And the last one, what's out for this year, is not planning for the future or the people that will inherit what you've built. That's how good intentions turn into unnecessary stress for the next generation. And I'll point this out kind of at the end of our show here. Building a steward's plan, what we talk about all the time with our clients, answers three simple questions. What do I have? And this is not just investments. This is accounts, assets, risks, responsibilities. What do I need? Of this, what do I actually need to live on now and in the future? And finally, what do I do with what's left over? And when we can answer all three of those questions, right? When we can come to an agreement with our spouse, with our families about those three, right? This is when we have answers. Confidence begins to replace anxiety. Clarity replaces guesswork. And money finally starts working for you, not the other way around. So in 2026, don't aim for financial perfection, right? Let's aim for alignment. Let's set small habits, clear goals, intentional choices. Let's make 2026 a year where we do steward well. So until next week, from all of us at Stewards Planning Group, steward well.
Do you need help stewarding your time, your talent, or your treasure? If so, Stewards Planning Group can help. Now is the time to set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting. You can do this one of three ways. Number one, give them a call right now at 222-4236. You can request a meeting online at stewardsplanning.com, or you can just stop by their office located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. We'll see you next time. Ben Tages is a financial advisor at Stewards Planning Group. Securities offered through Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cetera Investment Advisors, LLC. A registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. 1104 19th Avenue Southwest, Wilmer, Minnesota 56201. The views depicted in this material are for information purposes only and are not necessarily those of Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. They should not be considered specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Neither Cetera Wealth Services, LLC nor any of its representatives may give legal or tax advice. Ben Tages is a financial advisor at Stewards Planning Group. Securities offered through Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cetera Investment Advisors, LLC. A registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. 1104 19th Avenue Southwest, Wilmer, Minnesota 56201. The views depicted in this material are for information purposes only and are not necessarily those of Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. They should not be considered specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Neither Cetera Wealth Services, LLC nor any of its representatives may give legal or tax advice.